Agriculture. Agriculture is the practice of growing plants on a large scale for food and other purposes. Plants of one kind grown on a large scale in a particular area during a particular season are called crops. Farmers grow different crops in different seasons. Crops like rice and maize that are grown in summer season and harvested at the end of monsoon season are called Kharif crops. Crops like wheat and gram that are grown in winter season and harvested in the spring season are called Rabi crops. Vegetables like cauliflower and peas are grown during winter, whereas like brinjal and gourd are grown during summer. Different plants not only grow in different seasons, but they need different types of soil too. Rice and jute grow well in clay soil, which can hold plenty of water. Wheat, jowar, and bajra grow in sandy soil. Cotton grows well in black soil. Tea plants grow in the soil of hill areas like Assam and Darjeeling. Stages of agriculture. Various stages of agriculture are given here. The field is plowed. Plow means to dig and turn over a field with the help of a plow so that the soil becomes loose. Manures and chemical fertilizers are added to the soil. They enrich the soil with nutrients. Seeds are sown. The crop is irrigated. Irrigate means to supply water to an area of land through pipes or channels so that crops will grow. The crop is sprayed with chemicals to protect it from pests. Such chemicals are called pesticides. The crop is harvested. Harvest means to cut and gather a crop. Protecting the crops. Crops need to be protected from animals, birds, insects, etc. before and after harvesting. Bigger animals like cows and buffaloes can be kept away by proper fencing around the fields. Scarecrows help to keep the birds away. Pesticides are sprayed on crops to protect them from insects. Once the crop is harvested, it is stored properly to protect it from insects, small animals, and moisture. Harvested grains and pulses are stored in airtight containers. Let us study the structure of a kidney bean seed. Seed coat. An outer covering protects the baby plant inside. Seed hole. Allows water to enter the seed. Cotyledons. Store food for the baby plant. Embryo. Grows into a baby plant. A plant produces many seeds, but all seeds do not grow into new plants. Some seeds are eaten by animals and humans. Some seeds are weak and do not grow. Some seeds are destroyed by wind or rain. Some seeds do not get the proper conditions needed to grow. When a healthy seed gets right conditions, right amount of air, water, and warmth, it grows into a baby plant called seedling. The process by which a seed grows into a new plant is called germination. During germination, the seedling gets food from the seed leaves called cotyledons. The seedling uses stored food until it grows its own roots and leaves. After the food stored in the cotyledons has been used, they shrink and fall off. The seedling grows in size and develops leaves which make food for the plant through photosynthesis. The roots of the plant absorb water and minerals from the soil. Seed dispersal. When many seeds are sown too close to each other, they struggle for nutrients. Even after germination, the seedlings do not get enough sunlight, air, water, and space. As a result, many seedlings die. Thus, it is important that seeds are scattered over a wide area so that each seedling gets enough sunlight, air, water, and space to grow. Seeds of some plants are scattered naturally to ensure that they do not grow too close to each other. The process by which seeds are scattered away from the mother plant is called seed dispersal. Some seeds have special features that allow them to disperse. Some seeds are dispersed by agents like wind, water, animals, and human beings. These are called agents of dispersal. Dispersal by wind. Seeds that are light and have hair or wing-like structures on them are dispersed by wind. Cotton and dandelion seeds have fine hair and are easily carried away by wind. Dispersal by water. Seeds of some plants can float on water and are carried away by water. Lotus plant has a spongy light fruit which can float on water. Coconut has fibrous covering that helps it to float on water. Lotus and coconut seeds are dispersed by water. Dispersal by animals. Birds and animals eat fruits. At times, undigested seeds of these fruits pass through their digestive systems unchanged. In this way, seeds are dispersed from the plant. Some seeds like cockleburr, datura, and tiger claws have spines or hooks. These seeds stick to the bodies of animals or birds and are carried away. Human beings and animals eat fruits like mango, jamun, and cherries, and throw away their seeds, resulting in their dispersal. Dispersal by explosion. Some fruits like pea, poppy, balsam, and bean burst open, scattering the seeds away from the plant. Growing plants from seeds. Plants are living things. They play a very important role in our lives. They give us lots of things like food, sugar, oil, wood, fibers, rubber, gum, tea, coffee, and spices. They also give us oxygen for breathing. To meet our needs, we need to grow plants. Let us read how we grow plants. We can grow plants through seeds, stems, roots, and leaves. Seeds are present inside fruits. New plants grow from seeds. Growing plants from stems, roots, and leaves. Growing plants from stems. Some plants like rose, hibiscus, and money plant can be grown from stem cutting. The plant from which the stem is cut is called the mother plant. Stem cutting is planted in the soil. After a few days, the stem cutting grows into a new plant. Potato, onion, and ginger are stems of plants which can grow into new plants. A potato has buds on it, called eyes. Any part of potato bearing an eye can grow into a new plant. A bud on potato can grow into a new plant. Growing plants from roots. Some plants like sweet potato, carrot, radish, turnip, dahlia store food in their roots. Roots of these plants can grow into new plants. Place a sweet potato in a glass full of water with the help of some toothpicks and keep the glass in an open space. After a few days, you will observe a new plant growing out of it. Let's experiment. Aim. To grow a plant from a carrot. Things needed: a carrot, a bowl, a knife, and water. Method. Cut off the top portion of the carrot. Keep the cut part in the bowl with the top portion upward. Pour some water in the bowl so that half the carrot is dipped in water. Keep the container in the sun. Observe the carrot for a few days. Observation. New leaves sprout from the top portion of the carrot. Growing plants from leaves. Leaves of Bryophyllum plant have buds in the notches along the margins. These buds develop into new plantlets. When the leaf falls on soil, these plants get separated and develop into independent plants. You should know. Growing plants from spores. Plants like ferns grow from spores. Spores are found on the underside of a fern leaf. Fungi like mushroom and bread mold also grow from spores. Movement in animals. Animals move from place to place in search of food, shelter, mates, and to escape their enemies. Different animals move in different ways. Insects have 6 legs. Insects like ants and cockroaches crawl on their legs. Grasshoppers have strong hind legs for hopping. Some insects like butterflies and dragonflies fly using their swings. Fish, whales, and dolphins have fins for swimming in water. Frogs have webbed feet to swim in water. They have strong hind legs for hopping on the land. Turtles have paddle-like limbs which help them to swim in water. Snakes move with the help of scales found on their body. Birds fly with the help of their wings. They use their legs and feet to walk or hop. Water birds like duck and swan have webbed feet to swim in water. Most mammals have 4 limbs. Dogs and cats use their limbs to walk or run. Human beings use their legs to walk and hands to hold things. Penguins and seals have flippers to swim in water. Bats have 4 limbs modified into wings for flying. Bats are the only mammals that can fly. Migration. Some animals move over greater distances to avoid harsh weather conditions. The mass movement of animals from one place to another in search of favorable environment is called migration. Animals migrate in search of food, breeding grounds, and to escape harsh weather. Siberian cranes migrate to India every year in winter. They fly back to Siberia with the onset of summers. Arctic tern travels from Arctic to Antarctic twice a year. It covers a distance of around 35,000 kilometers. Monarch butterflies fly from Canada to Mexico in the winter season. Locusts are harmful migratory insects. They migrate in swarms and destroy standing crops. European eels swim all the way to the Sargasso Sea in the western part of the Atlantic Ocean to lay their eggs. The baby eels then take 3 years to swim back to the European rivers. Breathing and feeding habits of animals. Breathing in animals. Animals breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Land animals breathe in oxygen from the air, while aquatic animals breathe in oxygen from water. Different animals have different organs for breathing. Insects breathe through air holes called spiracles, present along the side of their bodies. Spiracles lead into a network of air tube called tracheae. Fish breathe through gills. Gills absorb oxygen from the water and give out carbon dioxide from the blood. Like fish, prawns, crabs, and tadpoles also breathe through gills. Frog breathes through moist skin in water and lungs on land. Reptiles, birds, and mammals breathe through lungs. In birds, air enters through the holes on the upper beak. In mammals, air enters through the nose into the lungs where exchange of gases occur. Oxygen from the air passes into the blood and carbon dioxide from the blood passes into the air. The air containing carbon dioxide is then breathed out through nose. Feeding habits of animals. Animals need food to grow and live. An animal's food habit and its mouth parts depend on the type of food it eats. Bees and butterflies suck nectar of flowers through a long and thin tube called proboscis. Herbivores like cows and giraffes have sharp front teeth to bite leaves or grass and strong broad teeth to chew the food well. Carnivores like lion and tiger have sharp and pointed teeth to tear the flesh. Flesh-eating birds like vulture and kite have strong, sharp, and hooked beaks to tear the flesh. They also have sharp claws to catch their prey. Rodents like rabbit and squirrel have sharp front teeth to gnaw seeds and fruits. Body coverings. Different animals have different body coverings. Body covering of an animal helps it to survive in its habitat. Cuticle. Bodies of insects like beetle, ant, and grasshopper are covered with hard cuticle. Scales. Bodies of reptiles and fish are covered with scales. Reptiles like crocodile, lizard, and snake have horny scales on their body to prevent water loss. Shell. Animals like tortoise, turtle, and snail have a hard outer covering called shell. It protects the soft body of the animal. When these animals sense danger, they draw their head and feet into the shell. Feathers. Bodies of birds are covered with feathers. Feathers keep them warm and help them to fly. Fur or wool. Mammals like sheep and bear have fur or wool on their body. These protect them from cold and rain. Bears have fur and sheep have wool on their body. Body covering of some animals like zebra, tiger, and grasshopper merge with their surroundings. It makes animals hard to spot and protect them from enemies. This property is called camouflage. Animals like chameleons can change their color to match the surroundings. Habitat to survive. Different animals live in different places. Some live on land, some on trees, and some in water. A place or an area where an animal lives naturally is called its habitat. A habitat provides the animal with food, shelter, air, and water. The different types of habitats found on the earth are forests, mountains, oceans, fresh water, deserts, and polar regions. Forest. A forest is a large area thickly covered with trees and plants. A variety of animals live in forests. For example, giraffe and zebra live on land. Lion and bat live in caves. Birds and monkeys live on trees. Rabbits and snakes live in burrows. Desert. A desert is a dry area, often covered with sand with little or no vegetation. It receives very less rainfall. Camel, rattlesnake, fennec fox, ground squirrel, etc. are found in deserts. Polar regions. Arctic and Antarctic are polar regions. They are covered with snow and are extremely cold. Polar bear, penguin, seal, walrus, etc. are found in the polar regions. Freshwater. Rivers, lakes, and ponds are freshwater habitats. Fish, frog, salamander, toad, duck, swan, crane, etc. are found in freshwater habitats. Ocean. An ocean is a large body of saline water. It is the largest habitat of the earth. Whale, dolphin, octopus, seahorse, jellyfish, etc. live in oceans. Different animals have different body coverings, organs, and movement. Let us read about them.
Bones and joints. Bones are of different size and shapes. The major bones in the human body are the skull, the backbone, the rib cage, and the hand and the leg bone. The skull. The skull is made up of many bones joined together. It encloses and protects our brain. It is made up of 22 bones. There are 8 flat bones interlocked together which give shape to the head and protect the delicate brain. There are 14 bones that make up the face. Only the lower jawbone is movable in the skull. The movable lower jawbone helps us to talk and eat. The backbone. The backbone is also known as the vertebral column or spine. It runs from the base of the skull to the lower back. It is made up of 33 small bones called vertebrae, joined with each other. These bones helps us to bend and twist our back. The backbone protects the spinal cord. The rib cage. The ribs are long curved bones in the chest. There are 12 pairs of ribs that forms a cage-like structure called the rib cage. These curved bones are joined to the backbone at the back. The last 2 pairs of ribs are not attached at the front and are called floating ribs. The rib cage protects our heart and lungs. The limbs, hand and leg bones. The joint appendages of a human or other animal body are called limbs. Humans have 2 pairs of limbs, forelimbs and hind limbs. The arms, hands and fingers are called upper limbs or forelimbs. Legs, feet and toes are called lower limbs or hind limbs. The longest bone in a body is femur, which is the thigh bone.
Keeping bones and muscles healthy. To keep our bones strong, we should take foods rich in calcium like banana and milk. Always sit straight and walk erect to keep the backbone healthy. Exercise regularly. Playing outdoor games is also good for bones and muscles. Muscles. Muscles in our body hold the bones together and help in movement. They contract and relax to produce movement. There are more than 600 muscles in our body. Muscles are attached to bones by strong fibers called tendons. There are 3 types of muscles in our body. Voluntary muscles. These muscles are under our control. These muscles are present in our arms, legs, hands, feet, neck, and shoulders. Voluntary muscles are also called skeletal muscles. Involuntary muscles. These muscles are not under our control. They work on their own. Involuntary muscles are also called smooth muscles. They control breathing, flow of blood, movement of food in alimentary canal, etc. Involuntary muscles are under the control of brain and spinal cord. Cardiac muscles. Muscles in the heart are called cardiac muscles. They are involuntary in action. The muscles of the heart work all the time throughout our lifetime. How do muscles work? Muscles have the ability to contract and relax. When a muscle contracts, it shortens and thickens. When a muscle relaxes, it returns to its original size. The contraction and relaxation of muscles help in producing movement by pulling the bones. These movements help in walking, bending, jumping, etc. The muscles work in pairs. For example, when we bend our arm, one muscle contracts and the other relaxes. Skeletal system. Our body consists of different organs like stomach, liver, lungs, and kidney. Many organs collectively form an organ system which work together to perform a particular function in the body. The skeletal system is a framework of bones. There are 206 bones of different shapes and sizes in an adult, whereas a child has more than 350 bones. They fuse together to form human skeletal system. The human skeleton consists of skull, backbone, rib cage, 2 pairs of limbs, and girdle bones. Skull. The skull is made up of 22 bones. There are 8 flat bones interlocked together which give shape to the head and protect the delicate brain. There are 14 bones that make up the face. Only the lower jawbone is movable in the skull. The movable lower jawbone helps us to talk and eat. The upper jaw and lower jaw have teeth. The skull also has holes for eyes and nose. Backbone. The skull is attached to the backbone called the vertebral column. It is made of 33 small bones called vertebrae. It protects the spinal cord. Rib cage. There are 12 pairs of ribs that form a cage of bones around the chest called the rib cage. Ribs are thin and curved bones. They are attached to the sternum in the front and backbone at the back. The last 2 pairs of ribs are not attached to the sternum and are called floating ribs. The rib cage protects the heart and lungs. Limbs. We have 2 pairs of limbs, forelimbs, arms, and hind limbs, legs. The upper arm has 1 long bone and the lower arm has 2 bones. The upper arm is joined to the backbone with the help of the shoulder girdle. The upper leg has thigh bone. The thigh bone or femur is the longest bone in the body. It is joined to the lower backbone with the help of the hip girdle. Hands, wrists, and feet have many bones. Functions of the skeletal system. The main functions of the skeletal system are given below. It gives shape and support to our body. It protects many delicate internal organs like heart, lungs, and brain. Some bones are hollow from inside and filled with soft matter called bone marrow. Blood cells are made in the bone marrow. It helps in the movement of different body parts. Sense organs. Sense organs connect us to the outside world. There are 5 sense organs: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Eyes. The eyes help us to see. Each eyeball is safely set in a deep, bony socket in the skull. It is further protected by eyelids and eyelashes. Eyelids and eyelashes protect the eyes from the dust. In the front of the eye, there is circular and transparent part called cornea. The colored part of the eye is iris. An opening of the iris called pupil allows the light to enter the lens. Ciliary muscles hold and control the shape of the lens. At the back of eye is the retina. A sensory nerve called optic nerve connects the eye to the brain. Care of the eyes. Wash your eyes regularly with clean water. Do not work in a dim light or very bright light. Sit 6 feet away from the television. Do not watch television for long hours. Do not play computer games or video games for long hours. While reading, keep your book about 12 inches from your eyes. Always sit upright while reading. Do not read in a moving vehicle. Ears. Our ears help us to hear sounds. They also help us in maintaining the balance of our body. The ear has 3 parts: outer ear, middle ear, and inner ear. Auditory nerve connects the ear to the brain. Care of ears. Keep the ears clean and dry. Use a dry towel to clean your ears. Do not clean your ears with sharp objects. Nose. The nose helps us to smell and breathe. There are many nerve endings on the upper part of the nose. These nerve endings help us to detect different smells. Care of the nose. Keep your nostrils clean. Do not put objects into the nose. Always breathe through nose. The nose has tiny hair that prevent dust from entering the lungs. Tongue. The tongue helps us to taste. It also helps in speaking. The surface of the tongue has many taste buds. Taste buds have nerve endings which carry messages to the brain. The tongue can detect 4 types of tastes: sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. We should keep our tongue clean with the help of a tongue cleaner. Skin. It is the outermost covering of our body. It helps us to feel heat, cold, pain, pressure, roughness, or smoothness. Care of the skin. Take bath with soap and clean water. It helps to remove dirt and sweat. Sweat comes out through pores on the skin. Wear clean and dry clothes. Nervous system. Which organ system of your body helps you in learning and thinking? It is the nervous system. The nervous system controls all other body systems and the sense organs. It is an important organ system of our body. It helps us to see, read, write, think, learn, feel, respond, etc. The nervous system is made up of brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Brain. It is the control center of our body. It acts like a computer. Spinal cord. It is a bundle of nerves. Through it, messages travel to and from between the brain and rest of the body. Nerves. They act like telephone wires and connect every part of the body to the brain. Brain. The brain is an important organ of our body. It is the control center of our body. It sends and receives messages from different parts of the body through spinal cord and nerves. It is protected by the bony skull. The space between the brain and the skull is filled with a fluid that acts as a shock absorber. This fluid protects the brain from injuries. The brain has 3 main parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata. Cerebrum. It is the largest part of the human brain. It has many grooves and folds. It is the center of intelligence. It controls our sense organs. It is responsible for thinking, learning, and reasoning. Cerebellum. It lies below the cerebrum. It controls and coordinates the movement of muscles. It also helps in maintaining the balance of our body. Medulla oblongata. It is also called the brain stem. It lies at the base of the brain. It connects the brain to the spinal cord. It controls involuntary actions like breathing, digestion, swallowing, and heartbeat. Spinal cord. The spinal cord is a long, thick bundle of nerves that extends down from the medulla till the lower end of the backbone. It is protected by the backbone. Nerves originate from the spinal cord and spread all over the body. The spinal cord is responsible for carrying messages between the brain and the rest of the body through nerves. It also controls the actions that do not involve the brain. These actions are called reflex actions. Nerves. Nerves are made up of nerve cells called neurons. Nerves run throughout the body. They carry messages between the brain and the rest of the body. There are 3 types of nerves: sensory nerves, motor nerves, mixed nerves. Sensory nerves carry messages from the sense organs to the brain or spinal cord. Motor nerves carry messages from the brain or spinal cord to the muscles, organs, or glands. Mixed nerves do both the jobs, carry messages to and from the brain. Reflex actions. What happens when you touch a hot object or you get pricked by a thorn? You withdraw your hand immediately. Such actions are automatic. The automatic action produced in response to an event is called reflex action. Reflex actions are controlled by the spinal cord. Watering of mouth at the sight of food is also an example of reflex action.
Non-communicable diseases. The diseases that do not pass from one person to another are called non-communicable diseases. Some non-communicable diseases are caused due to lack of particular vitamins or minerals in the body. Such diseases are called deficiency diseases. The table below lists some deficiency diseases, causes, symptoms, and their preventive measures. Kwashiorkor, lack of proteins, swelling of stomach and legs, stunted growth, discolored hair. Pulses, eggs, meat and fish. Marasmus, lack of protein and carbohydrates, poor growth, dry and wrinkled skin, retarded mental growth, wheat, eggs, sugar, potatoes. Night blindness, lack of vitamin A, poor vision in dim light. Vitamin A rich food such as carrot, mango, papaya and green vegetables, etc. Beriberi, lack of vitamin B, loss of appetite. Vitamin B rich food such as cereals, pulses, nuts, green vegetable, etc. Scurvy, lack of vitamin C, bleeding gums. Vitamin C rich food such as citrus fruits, amla, green vegetables, etc. Rickets, lack of vitamin D, soft and deformed bones, bow-shaped legs. Vitamin D rich food such as cod liver oil, milk, egg yolk, etc. Anemia, lack of iron, weakness, tiredness, spinach, figs, jaggery, dates, etc. Goitre, lack of iodine, enlarged thyroid, retarded physical and mental growth, iodized salt, seafood, etc.
Diseases. A disease is an abnormal condition in which our body does not function properly. Diseases can occur due to lack of any nutrient in our diet. They may also occur due to germs. There are two types of diseases: non-communicable and communicable diseases. Non-communicable diseases. The diseases that do not pass from one person to another are called non-communicable diseases. Some non-communicable diseases are caused due to lack of particular vitamins or minerals in the body. Such diseases are called deficiency diseases. Some deficiency diseases are shown in the figures here. Non-communicable diseases are related to improper eating habits. For example, a person whose diet is deficient in vitamin D may suffer from rickets. Cigarette smoking and chewing of tobacco also lead to harmful non-communicable diseases like cancer. Some deficiency diseases and their symptoms are given in the table here. Communicable diseases. The diseases that can spread from one person to another are called communicable diseases. Communicable diseases are caused by germs. Some of the communicable diseases caused by bacteria, virus, protozoa and fungi are listed here. Communicable diseases. Germs. Diseases caused. Bacteria. Plague, tuberculosis, typhoid, pneumonia and cholera. Virus. Common cold, polio, measles, chickenpox, flu and AIDS. Protozoa. Malaria, Kala-Azar and amoebic dysentery. Fungi. Infections of skin and athlete's foot. Symptoms and preventive measures of some communicable diseases are given in the table below. Symptoms and preventive measures of communicable diseases. Communicable diseases. Symptoms. Preventive measures. Malaria. Fever. Constant shivering. Avoid stagnant water puddles around your house. Tuberculosis. Cough, fever, chill, weakness, weight loss. Vaccination, BCG vaccine. How are communicable diseases spread and prevented? Communicable diseases spread through air, water, food, insects, and through direct contact. Through air. When a sick person coughs, sneezes, or spits, germs are released into the air. When a healthy person breathes this air, germs enter his or her body and make him sick. Therefore, we should always cover our nose and mouth with handkerchief while sneezing or coughing. Diseases like common cold, flu, and tuberculosis spread through air. Through direct contact. When a healthy person comes in contact with a sick person or his handkerchief, towel, clothes, etc., he can get infected by the germs. Diseases like measles, chickenpox, and ringworm spread through direct contact. Through infected food and water. Sometimes food and water may get infected with germs if they are not stored or handled properly. Flies and cockroaches can contaminate our food with germs. Diseases like cholera, typhoid, jaundice, and polio spread through infected food and water. Cover your mouth with a handkerchief while sneezing. Through insects. Diseases like malaria, dengue, plague, and chikungunya spread through blood-sucking insects like mosquitoes, bugs, and flies. Malaria is caused by a protozoan that is carried by the female Anopheles mosquito. When the mosquito bites someone with malaria, the germs are sucked up with the blood. When this mosquito bites a healthy person, the germs are injected into the healthy person's blood, causing malaria. Dengue is spread by the bite of Aedes mosquito. Plague is spread by the bite of fleas carried by rats. Prevention of communicable diseases. Communicable diseases can be prevented by good hygiene and vaccination. Hygiene may be defined as practices that ensure cleanliness and good health. Following are some steps to maintain good hygiene. Wash your hands before and after eating food and after going to the toilet with soap and water. Do not allow water to stand in ditches, vessels, coolers, pots, etc. in or around your house. Stagnant water allows breeding of mosquitoes. Use mosquito net or mosquito repellent at night. Wash fruits and vegetables well before cooking or eating them. Food must be kept covered to prevent flies sitting on it. Do not allow heaps of garbage to collect near your home. Dustbins should be kept covered. Drink clean water. Water can be made clean and germ-free by boiling, filtering, and chlorinating. You should know. Vaccination. Vaccination is another way of preventing communicable diseases. Vaccines are available to prevent diseases like polio, cholera, diphtheria, tetanus, and hepatitis. Vaccination helps our body to acquire immunity against certain diseases. You should know. Healthy habits. Balanced diet, exercise, correct posture, and rest are essential for keeping ourselves healthy. Exercise improves our blood circulation and tone up our muscles. Running, jogging, cycling, aerobics, and yoga are some forms of exercises. Posture is the position in which we hold our body when we sit, stand, or move. We must keep our back straight while sitting or standing. Proper rest and sleep relax our muscles and give our body the much needed rest. Children need 8 to 10 hours of sleep in a day. Balanced diet. We should consume food rich in nutrients. Our daily diet containing all the nutrients in adequate amounts required for the healthy functioning of our body is known as balanced diet. We should eat food from all food groups every day. Components of food. Food contains certain substances called nutrients. Nutrients give energy to our body. They protect our body against diseases and help in its growth and development. There are 5 main nutrients in the food: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. Our body needs all the nutrients in right amounts. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates give energy to our body. Wheat, rice, corn, bread, potato, and sugar are some sources of carbohydrates. Fats. Fats give more energy than carbohydrates. Milk, oil, ghee, butter, cheese, and dry fruits are some sources of fats. Excessive intake of fatty foods can cause obesity. Proteins. Proteins help in growth. They also help in repairing damaged tissues and cells of our body. Milk, paneer, pulses, beans, eggs, and meat are some sources of proteins. Vitamins and minerals. Vitamins and minerals help in the normal functioning of our body. They help in protecting our body against diseases. Fruits, vegetables, and milk are some sources of vitamins and minerals. Vitamin C helps to keep the gums healthy. Calcium makes our bones and teeth strong. Water and roughage. Besides nutrients, our body also needs water and roughage. Roughage is the undigested part of the plant food. It helps in getting rid of wastes from our body. Fruits and vegetables are sources of roughage. Water also helps to get rid of wastes from our body in the form of urine. First aid. We should follow safety rules to avoid accidents. Sometimes, in spite of being careful, accidents occur. In case of an accident, we should inform an adult or a doctor. The injured person must be given first aid before the arrival of a doctor. First aid is the immediate help given to an injured person before the arrival of a doctor. While giving first aid, do not panic. First aid can prevent the condition of the victim from getting worse. Let us read about some first aid tips. First aid for burns. In case of a minor burn, hold the burnt area under cold running water till the burning sensation becomes less. Apply an antiseptic cream or a paste of baking soda and water on the burnt area. If the burn is serious, immediately call a doctor. Blisters, if formed, should not be pricked. In case of chemical burns, wash the affected area with plenty of water and cover the burn with sterile gauze. Take the victim to a doctor. First aid for animal bites. Animals like dogs, cats, and monkeys may bite human beings. Animal bites can cause rabies. In case of an animal bite, wash the affected area with soap and water and apply an antiseptic lotion. Cover the wound with a bandage if required. Take the patient to the doctor immediately. In case of bee stings, apply a paste of baking soda or toothpaste. In case of snake bite, tie a tourniquet just above the bite to stop the flow of blood to the heart. Immediately rush the victim to a doctor. A tourniquet is a tight bandage that can be tightened further by twisting a cross piece, stick or pencil. First aid for fractures. Fracture is a crack or a break in a bone. In case of a fracture, the injured person feels more pain. Do not try to move the fractured part. The fractured part needs support. If the fracture is in hand, a cloth sling can be used to give support. The patient must be taken to the hospital immediately. A magazine, newspaper, or piece of cardboard can be tied around the fractured part to give support. This acts as a splint. First aid for sprain. A sprain is caused when the tissues around a joint get torn. The affected area swells up. On the swelling, rub ice till the swelling subsides. First aid for nosebleed. At times, when it is very hot, nose may bleed. In such a situation, keep the patient upright with his head held back. Pour cold water on the patient's head. Press the bleeding side of the nose firmly. The patient must not put his finger in the nose. Safety on the road. We should always be careful on the road. On the roadsides, we see many traffic signs. We should follow the traffic signs to keep ourselves and others safe. Safety from fire. Accidents may happen with anyone, anytime, and anywhere. We should always be careful and follow safety rules to avoid accidents. Let us read about safety in different situations. A fire can be caused due to gas leakage, electrical faults, or careless handling of candles, matchsticks, etc. We should follow some safety rules to prevent ourselves from fire accidents. Switch off the gas regulator when not in use. In case of a gas leakage, neither strike a match nor operate any electrical switch. Open all doors and windows and call an adult for help. Replace faulty gas pipes immediately. Check wiring and electrical appliances regularly for any fault or breaks in the wiring. Be careful while handling matchbox, candles, firecrackers, etc. Do not wear synthetic clothes like nylon clothes when handling fire because these clothes catch fire easily. If a person's clothes catch fire, he or she should be rolled onto the floor until the fire is out. He or she can also be covered by a blanket to put out fire. A fire can be put out by the following methods. In case of a fire accident, immediately call adults for help and inform fire station. The emergency number of a fire station is 101. In case of a small fire, use fire extinguishers to put it out. In case of electrical fire, switch off the mains immediately. Do not use water to put out electrical fire. Use sand, mud, or fire extinguisher to put out electrical fire. In case of fire caused by petrol, throw mud and sand instead of water to put out the fire. This is because petrol is lighter than water. It will float up on water and continue burning. Soil conservation. The process of soil formation takes millions of years. We should protect the soil from being eroded away. The protection of soil against soil erosion is called soil conservation. We can conserve the soil by following ways. Plants and trees hold the soil together, thereby preventing it from getting eroded due to wind or water. Afforestation or planting trees is an effective method of reducing soil erosion. After harvesting and before sowing the next crop, farms lie bare. At this time, wind or water severely erode the soil. To prevent this, farmers grow cover crops like fodder or grass. The roots of cover crops hold the soil together, thus preventing soil erosion. Trees and bushes are grown along the boundary of farmlands. They act as shields against strong winds and protect the soil from being eroded away. In hilly regions, slopes are cut into steps or terraces to reduce soil erosion. This is called terrace farming. Steps reduce the speed of flowing water. As the speed of water slows down, the amount of soil being carried away also reduces. The soil eroded from one step deposits on the next step. During the monsoon season, many rivers flood the nearby fields. Building embankments along the rivers prevent soil erosion. Soil. Soil is the topmost layer of the earth. It is essential for plant growth as it supports life on the earth. Soil is home to many animals like earthworm, ant, mole, snake, and rabbit. Soil. Big rocks are broken down by the action of sun, wind, and water into smaller pieces till a powder is formed. This process is called weathering. The fine powder mixes with the remains of dead plants and animals to form soil. It takes millions of years for rocks to change into soil. Soil is made up of gravel, sand, clay particles, and humus. Humus is the remains of dead plants and animals found in the soil. Soil also contains air, water, and microorganisms like bacteria and fungi. Soil profile. Soil profile is the layers of soil. It has 3 layers: topsoil, subsoil, and bedrock. The uppermost layer of the soil is called topsoil. It contains sand, clay, humus, air, and water. Humus provides essential nutrients to the plants for growth. The middle layer is the subsoil. It contains broken pieces of rocks and water. It has very little humus. The bottom layer is the bedrock. It is deep inside the earth and contains large pieces of rocks. Not much water is present in this layer. Soil erosion. Topsoil is the most fertile layer as it contains humus. Strong winds and water and human activity can carry topsoils to new places. This process of wearing off or carrying away of the topsoil by the action of wind or water is called soil erosion. It reduces the fertility of the soil. Running water causes soil erosion. When rain falls, the running water carries topsoil with it. In hill areas, water flows at a great speed down the hills and carries lots of soil with it. This makes the slopes unfit for cultivation. Flooded rivers carry away topsoil. In deserts and dry lands, wind blows away the topsoil, causing soil erosion. Human activities like deforestation, plowing of hill slopes, and overgrazing cause soil erosion. Deforestation is the indiscriminate felling of trees. Roots of trees hold the soil together. When trees are cut, the soil becomes loose and is easily carried away by wind and water. Plowing of hill slopes loosens the soil and leads to soil erosion. Overgrazing by cattle removes the plant cover from the soil. Due to this, erosion of soil increases. Uses of rocks and minerals. Rocks and minerals are used as building material. Our houses, schools, roads, bridges, etc. are made of rocks and minerals. Rocks give us fuels like coal, petroleum, and uranium. Uranium is a mineral used to produce nuclear energy. Rocks give us useful metals. Metals like aluminium and iron are used to make utensils. Copper is used to make electric wires. Rocks give us gemstones. Diamond, ruby, emerald, and sapphire are the minerals used as gemstones. Minerals. All rocks are made up of minerals. Minerals are chemical substances that occur naturally on the earth. Minerals can be metallic or non-metallic. Gold, silver, iron, aluminium, and copper are some metallic minerals. Metallic minerals are used for making jewelry, vehicles, utensils, wires, etc. Calcite, gypsum, feldspar, mica, coal, and petroleum are non-metallic minerals. Coal and petroleum are valuable natural resources. They are dug out of the earth from mines and wells. Let us read about coal and petroleum. Coal. Coal is a kind of sedimentary rock. Millions of years ago, the earth was covered with thick, swampy forests. When plants died, they fell into the swamps and got buried down. Due to high temperature and pressure, these plants get converted into coal. Coal is used as a fuel for cooking, for producing electricity, and in steam engines. Petroleum. It is also called crude oil, rock oil, or black gold. It is formed from the remains of dead land and sea animals which got buried under the sea millions of years ago. It is mostly used as a fuel in different forms like petrol, diesel, kerosene, and liquefied petroleum gas or LPG. It is also used for dry cleaning. Types of rocks. Our earth is made up of rocks and soil. Rocks are made of minerals. Rocks and minerals are used for various purposes. There are 3 types of rocks on the basis of their formation: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Igneous rocks. Igneous rocks are formed by the cooling and hardening of hot molten rocks. The hot molten rock flows out through a volcano. Hot molten rock, when present inside the earth, is called magma, and when it flows out on the earth's surface, it is called lava. Magma or lava cools down and hardens to form igneous rocks. About 25% of the earth's crust is made up of igneous rocks. Igneous rocks contain many minerals like mica and feldspar. Examples of igneous rocks. Granite. It is a very hard rock. It is formed by the slow cooling of magma below the Earth's surface. It is rich in quartz, feldspar, and mica. It comes in many colors. It is used for making kitchen counters, floors, etc. Pumice. It is light-colored igneous rock. It has many holes which are formed by the gases trapped in the lava at the time of its formation. It is lightweight and can float on water. It is used in polishing the floors. Dentists use powdered pumice for polishing our teeth. Obsidian. It is shiny and smooth igneous rock formed by quick cooling of lava. It is used for making jewelry. It is also used to make cutting tools. Basalt. It is formed by the cooling of lava on the Earth's surface. It is dense and dark. It is used for constructing roads. Sedimentary rocks. Water, wind, rain, and snow break away big rocks. The rock particles so formed are carried away by wind and flow in water into rivers, lakes, and seas. These rock particles settle at the bottom of the water bodies and form layers. The layers are cemented together by mineral. Repeated deposition of layers presses down the lower layers and then turn them into rocks. Such rocks are called sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are also formed from the shells of sea creatures. About 75% of the rocks found on the surface of the earth are sedimentary rocks. Examples of sedimentary rocks. Sandstone. It is a soft stone made from particles of sand that get cemented together. The most common mineral found in sandstone is quartz. This rock is used in construction. The Red Fort in Delhi and Agra Fort in Agra are made of red sandstone. Conglomerate. It is made from pebbles, gravel, and boulders cemented together by minerals and sand. It has a very uneven texture and is used in construction. Shale. It is made from clay particles cemented together. It is used to make bricks and tiles. Limestone. It contains the mineral calcium and shells of sea creatures. It is used to make cement, lime, glass, and bricks. Chalk is a form of limestone. Metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks are formed due to changes in the existing rocks over time. They can be formed from sedimentary or igneous rocks due to high temperature and pressure. Examples of metamorphic rocks. Marble. It is formed from limestone, a sedimentary rock. It is used for making statues, floors, and slabs. Slate. It is formed from shale, a sedimentary rock. Both shale and slate can split into thin layers. It is used for making blackboards and handheld writing boards called slates. Gneiss. It is formed from granite. It has light and dark bands. It is used in construction. Quartzite. It is formed from sandstone. It is a very hard rock and it is used for making glass and jewelry.
We have read about the solution in the previous class. A solution is formed when particles of a solid completely dissolve in a liquid. A solution comprises of two parts, solute and solvent. Some solids such as sugar and salt dissolve in water. It means that sugar or salt molecules fit in the space between the water molecules. The solid that dissolves in a liquid is called the solute. The liquid in which a solute dissolves is called the solvent. Solutions may be of different types depending upon the state of the solute and solvent present in the solution. Solid dissolved in solid. This types of solution is formed when both the solute and the solvent are solids. Gold ornaments are examples of such solution, as metals such as copper and silver are mixed with gold to make Ornaments.
Solids, liquids, and gases in water. Some solids like salt and sugar are soluble in water. Their molecules spread themselves between the molecules of water. Some liquids like milk, glycerine, and lemon juice also dissolve in water. The liquids that mix with each other are called miscible liquids. Liquids like oil and kerosene that do not dissolve in water are called immiscible liquids. Some gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen can dissolve in water. Aquatic animals breathe in oxygen dissolved in water. Aquatic plants take in carbon dioxide dissolved in water to make food. In soft drinks, carbon dioxide is dissolved to make them fizzy. When we boil water, small bubbles of air are seen on the inner side of container. These bubbles are of dissolved gases that separate from water on heating. Physical and chemical changes. A physical change is a temporary change that can be reversed. For example, melting of ice, evaporation of water, melting of wax, and glowing of a bulb are physical changes as they give us back the original substance. A chemical change is a permanent change that cannot be reversed. For example, burning of paper, burning of matchsticks, cooking of food, and formation of curd from milk are chemical changes. In physical changes, no new substance is formed, but in chemical changes, new substances are formed. Change of state. Matter can change from one state to another on heating or cooling. Melting. When ice is kept out of a refrigerator, it melts into water. The process of changing a solid into a liquid on heating is called melting. When ice is kept in a warm place, the molecules of ice start vibrating faster and become free from the rigid form. They become loosely packed to form water. Evaporation. When water is heated, it changes into water vapor. The process of changing of a liquid into a gas on heating is called evaporation. The molecules of water start vibrating faster on heating. They become free and escape into the air as gas. Molecules of a gas move much more freely. Condensation. When the steam touches a cold surface, it changes into water. The process of changing a gas into a liquid on cooling is called condensation. When molecules of steam or water vapor touch a cold surface, their movement slows down. They become less free to move and form water. Freezing. When water is kept in a freezer, it changes into ice. The process of changing a liquid into a solid on cooling is called freezing. On cooling water, the molecules slow down and come very close to each other. They pack themselves into a rigid form to make ice. Expansion and contraction of matter. When we heat a substance, the molecules start vibrating rapidly. Due to this, intermolecular space between the molecules increases and the substance expands. Thus, expansion is the increase in size of matter on heating. For example, tight metal lid of a jar can be opened easily by dipping it in hot water. This happens because hot water causes the lid to expand a little and thus it opens out easily. Similarly, electric wires between electric poles hang loose in summer season. On the other hand, when we cool a substance, the movement of molecules slow down. Due to this, intermolecular space between the molecules decreases and the substance contracts. Thus, contraction is the decrease in size of matter on cooling. For example, electric wires do not hang loose between electric poles in winter season. Matter. There are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. All the three states have different arrangement of molecules. In solids, the molecules are tightly packed. They attract each other with a strong force of attraction. There is no intermolecular space between the molecules, so they cannot move. That is why solids have definite shape and volume. In liquids, the molecules are not as closely packed as in solids. The force of attraction between the molecules is less as compared to that of solids. There is intermolecular space between the particles so that they can move freely. That is why liquids can flow. Liquids have definite volume but no definite shape. In gases, the molecules are far apart with large intermolecular spaces between them. They can move freely in all directions. So, gases can flow easily and take up all the available space. Gases do not have definite shape and volume. Simple machine. What do you use to fix a nail on a wall? Your hands or a hammer? Like hammer, we use many tools in our everyday life that make our work easier and faster. These tools are called machines. Machines may be simple or complex. Simple machines are tools that have very simple structure and that make our work easier and faster. Complex machines consist of two or more simple machines that work together. For example, a knife and scissors are simple machines, while a sewing machine and washing machine are complex machines. There are 6 types of simple machines: lever, wheel and axle, inclined plane, screw, wedge, and pulley. Simple machines either change the direction of force applied or increases the force applied. Lever. A lever is a rigid rod that can move freely around a fixed point. It consists of three parts: fulcrum, load, and effort. Fulcrum is the fixed point around which the lever moves. Load is the object on which work is being done. Effort is the force applied on the lever. For example, the man is trying to lift the boulder using a lever. Here, the boulder is the load, force applied by the man is the effort, and the small rock on which the rod is fixed is the fulcrum. There are three classes of levers on the basis of position of fulcrum, load, and effort. First class lever. In first class lever, fulcrum is located between the load and the effort. A pair of scissors, seesaw, crowbar, and plier are examples of first class lever. Second class lever. In second class lever, load is located between the fulcrum and the effort. Wheelbarrow, nut cracker, and bottle opener are examples of second class lever. Third class lever. In third class lever, effort is located between the load and the fulcrum. Stapler, fishing rod, and tongs are examples of third class lever. Wheel and axle. A wheel and axle consists of a wheel attached to a rod called an axle. When the axle is turned, the wheel also moves. The steering wheel of a car, screwdriver, sewing machine, and doorknob are examples of wheel and axle. All the vehicles have wheel and axle. Inclined plane. An inclined plane is a slope. Less effort is needed to move an object up through an inclined plane as compared to lifting it up straight. Ramp, staircase, slide, and roads in hilly regions are examples of inclined planes. Screw. A screw is an inclined plane wound around a rod to form a spiral. It helps to hold things tightly. A screw can be easily driven into a foot. Screw jack, drilling machine, and nut bolts are examples of screw. You can find screws on electric bulbs and jars too. Wedge. A wedge has two inclined planes put together to form a sharp, thin edge. A nail, fork, knife, and an axe are examples of wedge. Pulley. A pulley is a wheel with a grooved rim, so that a rope or chain can run around it. A pulley changes the direction of force applied. A pulley can be of two types: fixed pulley and movable pulley. Fixed pulley. In a fixed pulley, the axle is fixed to a support. It is used for drawing water from a well and raising a flag to the top of a flagpole. Movable pulley. Movable pulley is used in combination with a fixed pulley. It is used to lift heavy loads. Energy. To do any work, we need energy. Energy is the ability to do work. There are many forms of energy. Let us read about some of them. Heat energy. Heat is a form of energy. Apart from sun, we get heat energy by burning of fuels like coal, kerosene, LPG or liquefied petroleum gas, and wood. Light energy. Light energy helps us to see things. Sun, electric bulb, tube light, and candle are some sources of light. Electrical energy. Appliances like fan, computer, washing machine, and television use electrical energy. Electricity is generated at power stations and supplied to our homes through wires. Mechanical energy. The energy possessed by an object due to its position or its movement is called mechanical energy. It is of two types: potential energy and kinetic energy. Potential energy is due to the position of an object, and kinetic energy is due to the movement of an object. For example, water stored in a dam has potential energy. When it falls from a height, it has kinetic energy. Sound energy. Radio, television, loudspeakers, horns, and musical instruments are sources of sound. Living things like humans, birds, and animals also produce sounds. Force. We perform many actions daily that involve push or pull. For example, pushing a cart, pushing a door, and pulling a chair are actions that need push or pull. A push or pull applied on an object is called force. A boy pulling a toy car, a boy pushing the paddles of a bicycle, and a lady pulling water from a well are examples in which forces are applied on objects. Effects of force. A force can move a stationary object. A force can also make a moving object move faster when applied in the direction in which the object is moving. A force can stop a moving object. A force can also slow down a moving object when applied in the opposite direction to which the object is moving. A force can change the direction of a moving object. A force can change the shape of an object. Force can move a stationary ball. Force can stop a moving ball. Force can change the direction of a ball. Force can change the shape of clay. Types of forces. There are many types of forces. Let us read about some of them. Gravitational force or gravity. The force that attracts objects to the center of the earth is called gravitational force or gravity. Gravity is a force that makes things fall to the ground. When an apple falls from a tree, it falls towards the ground. When you throw a ball in the sky, it also falls to the ground after going up to some height. Magnetic force or magnetism. The force by which a magnet pushes or pulls iron objects or another magnets is called magnetic force. Muscular force. When we push or pull something, we are applying muscular force. Muscular force is applied in opening a door, kicking a football, plucking fruits from a tree, etc. Electrostatic force. Tear a paper into tiny pieces. Run a comb through hair. Now bring the comb closer to the tiny bits of paper. The bits of paper stick to the comb. This happens because of the electrostatic force. Some materials, when rubbed with other materials, get charged. These charged materials either attract or repel other objects. Here, the comb gets charged due to running through dry hair and attracts tiny bits of paper. Friction or frictional force. The force that acts between two objects when they are in contact with each other is called friction. Friction stops or slows down the movement of objects across a surface. For example, when you stop pedaling your bicycle, it gradually slows down and stops. Smooth surfaces produce less friction than rough surfaces. Water. All plants and animals need water to live. We use water for drinking, cooking, washing, bathing, cleaning, etc. The water that we use mainly comes from rivers, ponds, lakes, and wells. This water contains dirt, sand, mud, and germs that make it unfit for use. The substances that make water dirty or unfit for use are called impurities. The impurities are of two types: soluble and insoluble impurities. Soluble impurities dissolve in water. For example, salt. Insoluble impurities do not dissolve in water. For example, sand and mud. Soluble impurities cannot be seen in water. Removing impurities from water. Different impurities are removed by different methods. Removing insoluble impurities. Insoluble impurities can be removed by sedimentation, decantation, and filtration. Sedimentation and decantation. Water with insoluble impurities is allowed to stand undisturbed. After some time, the insoluble impurities settle down at the bottom of the container as sediments. This process is called sedimentation. After sedimentation, the clean water can be slowly poured out into a separate container. This process is called decantation. The rate of sedimentation can be improved by adding some chemicals like alum. This process is called loading. Alum particles attach themselves to the impurities, thus making them heavier. Sedimentation and decantation. Filtration. In this process, liquid is passed through a filter paper. A mixture of sand and water can be filtered. The filter paper is folded twice to make a cone. This cone is kept inside a funnel. The funnel is kept on the conical flask, and impure water containing sand is poured into the funnel. The water seeps through the filter paper and collects in the flask. Impurities like sand are left on the filter paper. Removing soluble impurities. Soluble impurities can be removed by evaporation or distillation. Evaporation. It is the process of changing water into water vapor on heating. When water evaporates, soluble impurities are left behind. Let's experiment. Aim: to remove soluble impurities from water through evaporation. Things needed: water, salt, burner, and beaker. Method 1. Dissolve 2 teaspoons of salt in some water. 2. Heat the solution till the water evaporates completely. Observation: when the water evaporates completely, salt is left behind in the beaker. Distillation. In distillation, impure water is heated in round-bottomed flask till it starts boiling. On boiling, water changes into steam and impurities are left behind. The steam passes through the condenser, which is kept cool by the cold water circulating in it. In the condenser, the steam changes into water again. This water collects in the flask below. Distilled water is the purest form of water. It is used in car battery, inverter battery, science laboratory, etc. Purification of drinking water. Water may contain germs that can cause diseases like jaundice, cholera, and dysentery. Therefore, it needs to be purified. In cities and towns, water from lakes or rivers is purified in big purification plants and then supplied to homes. There, water is purified by sedimentation, filtration, and chlorination. At homes, water can be purified by boiling, chlorination, and water filters. Boiling. It is the simplest way to purify drinking water. Boiling water for about 10 minutes kills the germs present in it. Boiled water may be filtered through a clean piece of cloth and stored in clean and covered containers. Chlorination. The process of adding chlorine to water for purifying is called chlorination. Chlorine tablets are easily available in the market. Chlorine kills the germs in water and makes it safe for drinking. Water filter. Water filters can also be used to purify water at home. Air. All living things need air and water to live. We need air to breathe and water to drink. Air is present everywhere. We cannot see air, but we can feel it when it moves. The air is a mixture of gases. It contains about 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other gases like carbon dioxide, argon, helium, hydrogen, and ozone. It also contains water vapor, dust, and smoke. Nitrogen. Nitrogen is not used by living beings directly from the air. Plants get nitrogen from the soil and animals get nitrogen from plants or meat. Nitrogen does not support burning. Its absence can make even a small fire uncontrollable. Oxygen. All living things need oxygen. Oxygen is also needed for burning. Other gases. Carbon dioxide is used by plants for photosynthesis. It is also used in fire extinguishers. Argon is used in making bulbs and fluorescent tubes. Atmosphere. The Earth is surrounded by a blanket of air called the atmosphere. The atmosphere is held by the Earth's gravity. It can be divided into 5 layers as shown here. Troposphere is the first layer above the Earth's surface. All changes in the weather occur in this layer. Stratosphere is the second layer. Many aircraft fly in this layer. Ozone layer, that absorbs harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun, is present in this layer. Mesosphere is the third layer. Meteoroids burn out in this layer so that they do not crash into the Earth's surface. Meteoroids are small rocks that move in the space. Thermosphere is the fourth layer. Space shuttles orbit in this layer. Exosphere is the fifth layer. The air in this layer is very thin. The atmosphere helps us in many ways. It protects the Earth from becoming too hot by preventing the entry of a large part of sunlight from reaching the Earth. It protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. It protects us from meteoroids. A meteorite can make a hole or crater in the ground if it hits it. Properties of air. Air has 3 properties. It occupies space. It has weight. It exerts pressure. Let's experiment. Aim: to show that air exerts pressure. Things needed: a glass, water, and a piece of cardboard. Method: fill water in the glass up to the brim. Put the cardboard on the brim of glass. Press the cardboard with your hand and turn the glass upside down. Gently remove your hand and observe. Observation: the cardboard remains in its place and the water does not fall. Conclusion: the pressure exerted by the air outside keeps the cardboard in its place. Take a juice can and make a hole on one side. When you tilt the can, juice flows out slowly. Now make another hole on the other side. The juice flows out rapidly. This happens because of the air pressure. Air enters the can from the second hole and its pressure pushes the juice out of the can. Air pressure helps us in many ways. It helps us to drink juice through a straw. It helps in filling fountain pens and syringes. It helps in using droppers.
Drought. When a particular area receives no rain or less rain then the normal for a longer period, it is said to be affected by drought. However, it is not only the lack of rainfall that causes drought. Dry hot winds, high temperature, and evaporation of moisture from the ground can also cause the condition of drought. When people die due to hunger and scarcity of food and water, such a condition is called famine. In our country, some parts of the states such as Rajasthan, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh are prone to drought. In drought-affected area, people get help in the form of food, water and medicines from neighboring places and some international agencies. There may also be widespread of diseases leading to epidemic. Epidemics are the situations when a disease spreads and affects the large number of people in short span of time. Floods. A flood is a sudden overflow of river water due to heavy rains. Areas near the river banks are severely affected during a flood. It damages the life and property on a large scale. Flood destroys homes, livestock, and crops. Recently, Kerala faced a worst flood on August 2018.
Tidal waves are also called tsunamis. In Japanese, tsunami meant harbor waves. A tsunami is caused by an undersea earthquake, volcanic eruption, landslide, etc. Large amounts of seawater move at a great speed in tsunami. They may move as fast as 800 kilometers per hour. Tsunamis may rise as high as 15 meters. Tsunamis cause destruction to life and property. In 2004, an earthquake in the Indian Ocean caused a tsunami. A number of people died in this disaster. Volcanoes. A volcano is an opening on the Earth's surface through which hot magma and gases come out. A volcano is usually a conical hill or mountain. The magma comes from the mantle. The magma rushes upwards through a vertical tunnel called vent and comes out through an opening at the top called crater. Magma released from a volcano is called lava. As it cools, it hardens to form rocks. There are 3 types of volcanoes on the basis of the nature of eruptions: active, dormant, and extinct volcanoes. Active volcanoes are the volcanoes that have erupted in recent years or may erupt at any time. Many active volcanoes are found around the Pacific Ocean. The Barren Island is the only active volcano in India. It is located in the Andaman Islands. Some famous active volcanoes include Mount Erebus in Antarctica, Mount Fuji in Japan, and Mount Vesuvius in Italy. Dormant volcanoes are the volcanoes that have not erupted in recent years but may erupt in the future. Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania and Narcon Dam in Andaman Islands are examples of dormant volcanoes. Extinct volcanoes are the volcanoes that are not expected to erupt in the future. Zuidwal volcano in Netherlands and the Emperor Seamount chain in the Pacific Ocean are examples of extinct volcanoes. Earthquake. Some natural events that can cause damage to life and property are called natural calamities. Natural calamities may occur in the form of storms, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tidal waves, floods, etc. Natural calamities cannot be stopped by human beings. Let us read about some natural calamities. An earthquake is a sudden shaking of the ground due to movements or vibrations beneath the Earth's surface. Upper layer of the Earth, called crust, is made of big rock masses called plates. These plates are moving all the time. At times, the plates move apart, collide, or slide past each other, thus generating severe shock waves. These shock waves travel through the solid rocks from under the ground to the surface, causing an earthquake. The point inside the earth where the earthquake begins is called the focus. The center of the earthquake on the surface of the earth is called epicenter. Maximum damage is caused in the region of epicenter. On 26 January 2001, an earthquake occurred in Gujarat, whose epicenter was Bhuj. The smaller quakes or tremors that occur after the first big quake are called aftershocks. Aftershocks may continue for several days. Measuring an earthquake. The shock waves produced in an earthquake are recorded using an instrument called seismograph. It measures intensity, direction, and duration of earthquakes. Richter scale is used for determining intensity of an earthquake from the recording made by a seismograph. The Richter scale starts from 1 and upward. Earthquakes of 1 magnitude are almost not felt, but those of 3 or 4 can be felt. Earthquakes of 8 or higher magnitude cause massive damage. Effects of an earthquake. Earthquakes result in destruction of life and property. Many buildings collapse or develop cracks. Roads and bridges also get damaged. All this happens so suddenly that people do not even get a chance to run out of their homes. They get buried under the debris. Electrical poles and trees are uprooted. Greenhouse effect. A greenhouse is a house made of glass that is used for growing plants in winter. The glass walls of a greenhouse allow sunlight to enter but do not allow heat to escape. This way, greenhouse traps the heat and makes the inside environment warm. Similarly, when the sunlight enters the atmosphere, some of the heat is trapped inside. The atmosphere consists of gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor, ozone, and methane that have the property of trapping heat. Such gases are called greenhouse gases. These gases do not allow heat to escape into space, thereby warming the atmosphere. This is called greenhouse effect. Without the greenhouse effect, the earth would be a very cold place for existence of life. human activities like burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and use of chlorofluorocarbons in air conditioners and refrigerators are increasing the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, leading to global warming.
Greenhouse gases. The main greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous, hydrocarbons, and ozone. Carbon dioxide. Over last 100 years, the concentration of carbon dioxide has been increasingly gradually. The main reasons are destruction of forest, burning of fossil fuels, etc. If the concentration is increasing at the present rate, more heat will be trapped and temperature of Earth would increase. Methane. It is a natural gas. A large quantity of methane is released into the atmosphere from the wastes of plants and animals. This gas also traps heat and increases temperature.
Global warming. More greenhouse gases in the atmosphere trap more heat. This has led to steady rise in the Earth's temperature, and this is called global warming. Effects of global warming. Global warming causes changes in climate on the Earth. Climate changes are leading to melting of polar ice caps, rise in sea levels, and flooding of low-lying areas. There may be drastic changes due to global warming in the climate of a place, leading to extinction of some plants and animals in the long run. Measures to check global warming. To reduce the effects of global warming, we should reduce the release of greenhouse gases. Reduce the use of fossil fuels like coal and petroleum. Use electricity wisely. Use public transport or carpooling. Reduce, reuse, and recycle wastes. Plant more and more trees. Switch to clean energy sources like solar energy and wind energy. Pollution. The surroundings in which we live is our environment. Human beings have made several changes in the environment to suit their needs. The harmful changes brought in the environment by human activities are called pollution. There are 4 types of pollution. Pollution. Air pollution is caused by industries and vehicles. Water pollution is caused by release of household and industrial wastes into water bodies. Land pollution is caused by dumping of solid wastes like polythene bags and glass bottles in the soil. Noise pollution is caused by loud noise of machines and vehicles.